We have been brainwashed and conditioned. I'm gonna read some things from Babylon Temple of Two, written by a black man from New Jersey named Rudolph Winshaw. Uh, he attended college. He's a man that had got him a PhD. He has an education in PhD, I believe, from what I see in here. And I think they say he was married. He had 4 children. He said in his book, my motive in writing is to give the true history of Afro Americans, which has been excluded from some textbook. Dr. Winshaw is a strong advocate of the economic, cultural, and moral development of the black community and serving the community. He has been a member and president of several organizations, was a delegate to the Black Power Conference in 1968 and a delegate had behalf of the Ethiopian Jews to meet with Mr. Macnon, an official of Ethiopian mission is mission to the United States, the United Nations in the early 1970s. Moreover, Mr. Winshaw is the author of this book, The Valley of the Dry Bones. It's talking about how I never read those. He has several other books that he written. And as y'all know, I came from a place where I couldn't even read or write. So I had to learn how to read and things like that through my family members and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? Oh yeah, I want to give a shout out to my boy. He's the Johnson, the one that worked at Walmart. And under the sound of my voice, I don't like how they did that, did my boy. They fired him. This man don't do nothing but take care of his family. So them dirty managers or whoever had something to do with firing my brother from the work, claiming that he didn't whatever he couldn't read something. And I was like, I've been there. You don't do nobody like that. Y'all don't know. Y'all in deep trouble with the Most High. Y'all gonna pay. Oh my goodness. Y'all mess with the wrong man. That man is a child of God. And just I hope he watching this video and he know that the so-called manager. You know what I mean? They done him wrong at Walmart. They done me like that too. They fired me at Walmart because they lied. Because they just wanted to get rid of. You know what I'm saying? But when you do wrong, believe you me, it comes back triple time. Sometimes it comes back stronger than what the worse than what you did in person. But they done my homeboy like that. They gonna reap what they sow. The white folks, y'all that did it wrong, y'all gonna get y'all punishment and judgment for what y'all did. Y'all messed with the wrong man. They they took he was telling me about how they got rid of him because he couldn't read something. I've been there where I couldn't even read or write and stuff like that. You know, that's they talk about always talk about discrimination, but they discriminated my brother. He don't do nothing. Go to work, take take care of his wife, and he's in a similar situation just like me, just like my mother. And the difference between him and his wife can't do anything for herself. So he's there taking care of his wife and then coming to work too. Then when he ain't there, then his children is taking it on while he at work. And they unjustly got rid of this man for no reason at all. And that was wrong. I'm gonna be quoting a little bit from this here, and the video is gonna be entitled. Excuse me. I don't know why my voice is like this. Um, the slave master brainwashed us and conditioned us um, into this way of thinking, into this way of life, just like he did that Uncle Tom at Walmart. Yeah, here in Hampton. I'm going to make a good start. Let's start right here. Like the black Jews in America, some of the Jews of Ghana don't remember their original nationality. This deplorable ignorance is attributed to various cases. One, the fall of the Hebrew kingdom. Two, the lack of communication with Jewish educational centers. Three, intense persecution and the deliberating blotting out of the mind their true nationality. Thus, Naaman Sloches said this about the Ishmaelis, Ju- Ishmaelis Jews. He met in most cases three Hebrews by race and museum muscle muscle music muscle men by faith seek to hide their origin, which has became a burden to them. In another example, the persecution of the black Jews in Portugal was so ruthless and fear frequent that Sale Rock tells us the Jews did not de- veil to their children the secrets of their religion until they had attained the age of reasoning. The Hebrew region, the Hebrew religion is such that if you deny your religion, you will eventually deny your nationality. The sociological and psychological known and history has proven that if you deny your culture and nationality over a long period of time, you will totally forget it through a process of assimilation. The black Jews came to Africa not only by land, but also by sea, as you recall. In the year 1884, King James of Portugal de- deported great numbers of Jews, of black Jews, to the African islands of San Thomas, the island of San Thomas near Nigeria. The Cameroon was discovered by the Portuguese in 1471 and was established as a panel colony to this island. Jews were sent who would not accept baptism. It is obvious that the Jews were deported to San Thumb not only to mete out punishment to them, but King John's ulterior motive was to establish a commercial base with so sophisticated black Jews in his growing empire in Africa. As time elapsed, the black Jews in Portugal and the black Jews in Portuguese colonized possession became known as black Portuguese. They were called black Portuguese because they were born in Portugal. And see, that's the thing. Just because you're born somewhere doesn't make that your nationality. Just like me born over here in America or whatever, that doesn't make this my homeland all that type of stuff. What makes your land or your language or your nationality is your bloodline is what makes it. You know what I'm saying? I can be living here in America, but genetically, I'm just giving an example. I can be from Spain. I can be from um, anywhere. You know what I'm saying? If you look in the Bible, these things are in the Bible. It says, as time elapsed, the black Jews in Portugal and the black Jews in Portuguese colonized possession. And that's the reason that we call ourselves different name because we was colonized and became known as Black Portuguese. They were called Black Portuguese because they were born in Portugal and they knew the history, culture, and language of Portugal as it has been mentioned before. King John of Portugal uh, furnished ships in order to deport the Jews to any country they desire, however, unscrupulous Portuguese captures excited as much money as they could from the Jews and dumped their human cargo at various places amongst the West African coast. As a result, Alan Garby writes that the wind would raid and met blacks in Ghana, West Africa, who called themselves Portuguese and claimed descent from Portugal. Reed wrote his book in 1864. In another case, Daniel P. Mix Maxon McManus writes us that Captain Cutter, a slave trader from Boston, was bore, 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 barbarously murdered with two of his sailors by a community of black Portuguese established near the mouth of the Syria Leon River. The Portuguese were the first Europeans to trade on the West African coast and to establish and colonize on a large scale. The Colonial Islands were discovered by Portuguese and the final disperse of the black Jews of Africa in 1341, ceded to Spain by papal bill in 1344. Senegal was discovered by the Portuguese in the 15th century, and the first settlements are believed to have been black Portuguese in Gibeon River. River Monk was discovered by the Portuguese in the 15th century. Cyrena Leon first visited by the Portuguese in 1462. Ghana discovered the Portuguese in 1446. The islands of San Thomas, discovered by Portuguese in 1471. The new inhabitation for black Jews deported here. In 1884, black Jews migrated to the Angola coast from San Thomas between 1484 and 1499. The white Portuguese missionaries reached Angola by 1560, but white settlers did not establish a commentary until 1575. Let us return now to the Jews of San Thomas Island. Scholars are uncertain concerning the exact number of Jews deported to this land. It is certain that the number lies in the thousands and perhaps the tens of thousands. Continuous research is needed in African Hebrew history, especially in the ex, excavating of reunion Hebrew cities of Africa. When this didactic work is complete, I believe the evidence will reveal information that will amaze humanity. It is my sincere belief that a great number of black Jews were deported to the west coast of Africa then is admitted by some writers. By the index of King Minoa Noel, Portugal in 1496 banished the Jews from Portugal. All Jews were to be out of Portugal by October 1497. However, considering this matter, he decided to Christianize the Jews, fearing the loss of a vulnerable population. He wanted the continual use of their knowledge, the use of their knowledge and services. He concluded that the only way the Jews could be tolerated in his country was to force them into the Christian faith. In March 1997, a command was proclaimed throughout Portugal for all Hebrew children between 4 and 14 years of age to be brought for baptism. All parents who did not bring their children voluntarily and had their children taken away voluntarily by the officials and forced into baptism, Caesar Roth writes, sense of indescribable horror were witnessed as they, now watch this, as they were torn away by the royal banefuls. The latter did not obey their instructions too closely, frequently seized young people of both sexes up to the age of 20. In many cases, parents smothered their offspring in their farewell embrace. In others, they threw them into the walls in order to save them from the disgrace of apostasy, and then killed themselves. Sometimes even old men were dragged to the churches and forcibly baptized by overzealous fanaticists. This is what they did in Christianity. They forced the Jews. And then you notice I was reading about how the Jews they deported them back to Africa, and then they want to deport them, take them. The Jews, they didn't want the Jews to stay in their real land. This is the reason why this is called the slave trade. You see what I'm saying? And you can see that they was forcing our people to do certain things against their will, all kind of stuff. You see what I'm saying? Herodias, conditions like these and much worse, compelled many Jews to escape secretly out of the country. These black Jews went to Portugal. Portuguese colonized possessions in Western Africa. Remember that the Portuguese colonized in West Africa were Ghana, San Thomas Island, Senegal, and Agalta, and a few islands near the African coast. During the persecution in Portugal, thousands of Jews left the country. The Jews were leaving the country in such a large number And then in 1499 and 1531, the kings published a decree forbidding the new Christian black Jews from leaving Portugal without special permit. Okay, permit, premates. At this time, many Jews became Christians out of fear. That's right. This is what they was doing. The slave master did. At at this time, many Jews became Christians out of fear. Many of them were known as secret Jews, practicing Judaism in secret under the disguise of Christianity. Some writers call these Jews normal Christians, Jews who are Christians in name only, but practice Judaism in secret. That's what they did. That's what they did. So what I'm gonna do, they forced our people is to accept a religion. They was actually for it. If you didn't accept a religion, they killed you. It was against the law to pray, even pray. They made a decree, or they made a policy during the days of Daniel. You couldn't even pray to the real God. You had to pray to a fake God. So we're gonna talk a little bit later.